Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. We thank Allah we meet again tonight, talking about the celebrity of Jannah, the mothers of the believers, Ummahatul Mu'minin. And today we will have two mothers today. You know the reason why we have two mothers today? Because there are not enough stories, right? They are very. These are the two of the quite the same thing with other mothers Zainab, the Zainab binti Khuzaimah. There's also very very less stories about them. And today we talk about Juwairiyyah bint al Harith and Habibah, which is the daughter of Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu. So one of the big companions, big in the quote unquote big companions of Abu Sufyan. He used to be one of the biggest enemy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and became Muslim. So his story is also quite big as well. So so today we're gonna talk about his daughter, which is Habibah. Bismillah. So as usual, every time we talk about the mothers of believers, I have put together some reference of why they call the mother of the believers. It's actually from the text of the Quran itself. Allah actually referred to them as Ummahatul Mu'minin, right? An-Nabi awla bil mu'minin minal anfusihim wa azwajuhu, and the wives ummahatuhum, and the wives are the mothers. So it is the verse that revealed in Medina, mentioning about our Rasul sallallahu is actually awla, is a protector for us, someone who cares about us, someone who protects us, and by the extension also his wives, which is azwatuhu ummahatuhu. Those become umha is the plural of which is mother. Of course, it's not biological mother, as Imam al-Qurtubi mentioned. This like a mother of tarbiyah, which is the mother of mother of protection. The same things like when they say Makkah, the Qura. Which camera I should be looking at? Okay. The Qura or Allahu Mahfuz, the Kitab, right? So this is so they are like the mothers to the mu'mins. So this is again the definitions are coming from the Quran, the text of the Quran itself. So let's just quickly go through the definitions of blessings. And Ummaha, as the wives of Rasulullah SAW, they consider one of the Ahlul Bayt, which is the household, the house or the family member of Rasulullah SAW. And all scholars, mostly the Sunni scholars, believe that the Ahlul Bayt also linked to the family of Banu Hasim, which is one of the sub tribes of the Quraysh, is the Banu Hasim, which is the Rasulullah SAW, Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Abdul Muttalib bin Abdul Muttalib bin Hashim, right? So this is the Hashim, which is the father of Abdul Muttalib. Basically, Bani Hashim is almost the children or the family, the children of Abdul Muttalib itself. So in general, so this is the Banu Hashims, and including the wives, as Allah mentioned, they are the also the household of Rasulullah SAW. So they're not like any other woman. They are so special. They are most of the wives of Rasulullah SAW, if not all, this is actually by the instructions of Allah to Rasulullah SAW. For example, when one day Jibril came down to Rasulullah SAW with carrying like what do you call that? Carrying someone, and then when you open it, it was Hafsa. So this is gonna be your wife, right? So there's always and there's always stories, but there's the Rasulullah SAW before marriage is actually the order of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And they are not like for example, why they're not like any other women. So after the passing away of Rasulullah SAW, all these mothers are now haram for all the companions to marry to, right? So it's really like this, treated like your own mother, and they deserve the love and respect. And they because if you see the family, if someone who's like the life of Rasulullah SAW, where all the troubles and difficulties and for the da'wah and for the ummah, right? Who's actually feeling the most in terms of course, the family members, right? So who's the family members of Rasulullah? Of course, the Ahlul Bayt, the closest family, including the wife of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They're the one who suffer the most as well. They're the one who goes at behind Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and all the dawah work and so on. And they become the role model. I don't know, my voice is kind of, and they become the role model as well, right? And one of the good thing about, not a good thing, one of the feature of the wife of Rasulullah, there will be the wives in this world and the world and the after. So this is one of the beautiful things about. And I just will have a quick note here. The members of Rasulullah, which is the Halal Bayt, they are, because the Nabi is haram for them to receive sadaqah, to receive that means including all the family of Rasulullah. They are, the sadaqah and the zakat is haram for them, right? So they have a special treatment for that as well. All right, so this is just quickly, and every time we talk about our mothers, we give this definition of blessing just to remind us about the special blessing, the special status or maqam of the wives of Rasulullah Sallam. They are to be like our own mothers in terms of love and respect, in terms of how they become our role model, and not only for the believing women but also for the believing men. These are the list of the wives of Rasulullah Sallam. I don't know whether you can see, if you can see from here, right? This is the life of Rasulullah up to here. So this is the passing away of Rasulullah 632. So you can see this, the wives, I mentioned Zainab binti Ghuzaimah. This is the one that passed away during Rasulullah was still alive. And also another one, but the only wife that passed away during the life of Rasulullah is Zainab, and also Khadijah radiallahu anha. And most of the wives, they are all outlived Rasulullah sallallahu. And in fact, the lady that we're going to talk about today, Juwairiyyah, is the second last wife to pass away in the year of 676. So almost like 30 years after Hijrah, right? So it's quite. And then the last one who passed away is Sauda, which is the second wife of Rasulullah sallallahu. So Juwairiyyah is the wife number 8. And she was married for about 5 years, and she was the second last to pass away. And then the other mother that we're going to talk about is the wife number 9, which is Habibah. She was also married for about 5 years, but she passed away a bit earlier. she passed away about almost 8 years before Juwairiyyah passed away. So these are the name. But I don't know whether you notice number 13, which is Maria. She is not actually considered the mother of the believers, and you know why. The mother of the believers, they're considered wives, but the milk yamin, which is the right hand possess, right? The milk yamin, which is a slave that become which is the lady slave. This is not considered. It is not considered mothers of believers. So they have a different status, right? But because if they give birth, they change the status from milk yamin to become walad, the mother of a child, or something like that. So, but that's a different topic altogether. So probably we will not be discussing Maria, because this series is called Mothers of Believers, and because there's Maria al-Qibtiyah will not be considered. So next sessions, which is next month, will be just the last part. We're gonna talk about Safiya and Maimunah, inshallah, radiallahu anhuma. All right. So let's talk about, like I mentioned before, Juwairiyyah bint al-Harith. There's not many narrations about her, very, very few narrations. Her real name was Barrah, and this is the second wife of Rasulullah SAW by the name of Barrah, and it's changed the name. The first one was Zainab binti Jash. Her real name is also Barrah. Before when she embraced Islam, Rasulullah changed her name. Right? Why Barra? Is it a good name? Barra is actually a good thing. It's from the female form of Bir. Al-Bir. Bir means very extra piety, right? But Allah mentioned in Surah Najm, verse 32, فَلَا تُزَكُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, do not elevate yourself. And Rasulullah translated as, do not call yourself like a very extra piety. So you cannot call yourself, for example, muttaqi. You can call yourself Muslim, but you don't have to, you cannot call yourself muttaqi like you have already attained taqwa. It's not something that is not allowed in our in the tradition of Rasulullah SAW. So do not falsely elevate yourself. Fala tuzaku anfusahum, and because of that, change the name. She's not from the Quraysh. She's from a different tribe, one of the biggest tribe within the Zajira at that time is from Banu Mustalik. A little bit story about this. There was I think after the battle of Uhud, the Bani Mustalik, there's one particular area, I think on the left side, near to the sea from Makkah. I don't know whether it's a Makkah, this is Medina, this is somewhere around that. So I need to put next time. So I'll probably put the map as well. So they come from. She's actually the daughter of the chief. So she's almost like a royal status, right? So is as a chieftain of that. Is the chief of that tribe. She enjoys like probably like a royal status, whatever the royal status on that time, or whatever the befitting on that time. She's like a royal status, and of course, lives in the lap of luxury. They call it. And there was a rumor, there was a spy. What's it called? It's not spy, it's a rumor, scout. Right? There's a scout report that the tribe were planning to attack the Muslims in Medina. And because of that, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam ordered the Muslims to do a preemptive attack, right? So just before people attack, let's attack them first, right? So this is like Rasulullah launched the preemptive attack, and there was a huge success because they didn't know, they didn't expect they were going to be attacked. So it was they got them, and then after that, the whole, and this is one of the things. Probably one day we're gonna talk about some how the difference between Islamic slavery and the Western slavery, right? But at the time, during that time, if there's no government, right? So it's only tribes, like one tribe here and tribes here. When they're at war, and the winning tribe will basically confiscate everything that the losing tribe, right? So they got all the money, the wealth, and everything. They got it, and then all the family members, right? They become slaves. This is where people get into slavery, right? And nowadays, with the political social structure, you don't have slaves anymore. We have UN, we have government, right? So they don't have that the way it was, the way slaves people become slave at that time. One of the things as well, if you remember, the adopted son of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Zaid bin Harith, right? Zaid bin Haritha, right? So he was actually kidnapped. So he was a kid probably playing around. He was kidnapped and stolen and then sell it to the market to become. So it's just one way of people getting. So because of that, I don't know whether I have the whole stories in the. Hang on. Okay, because of that, the whole tribe become captives, and the all ladies of that tribes will become they become slave. And then being people get involved in the battle, so you get to choose. Sometimes they have to choose whatever they choose which ladies that will become the slave for them, right? So this is currently what happened. So that includes our mother, his Juwairiyyah, right? And she was assigned to someone. I don't know whether in the next slide or story, but probably I will start that story later on. Now, just on that, I just want to have a quick story about the Bani Mustalik. Why Bani Mustalik? Because there was an event. There was a lake near to their place. It's called the Lake of Muraisi, I think. This is one of the interesting stories that I always like to tell the stories. At that time, the Muslim was the Ansar and the Muhajirin, right? The Meccan and the Medina, right? So they are the Muslim army. So this time is after the battle, right? So they go to the well and they take on to the well. When people tired and people probably thirsty and after the battle and so on, emotions get high, right? So one of the members of the Muhajirin probably just rub shoulders or kick someone or something like that, right? And then they kick one of the Ansar, and the Ansar's what? And then he's probably one of the like a high status in Ansar, and then the guy who's from Muhajirin is probably like a slave or something like that. So it was like, what happening? What the heck it is, right? And they got upset, and then they call up, "Hey Ansar, please help me," right? And then the guys also, "Hey Muhajirin, please help me." And then the companion, the Sahaba of Rasulullah SAW, actually split into two between the Muhajirin and Ansar, face to face, and ready to go on battle among themselves. See, this is huge test. We got tested as well. The Sahaba were tested as well. This is like the closest companions to Rasulullah Sallam, right? How easily they can also get into that, what sort of things, right? Tribal mentality, like whatever tribal mentality, nationality, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, and then the Muhajirin together, and Rasulullah was very upset when he heard that, right? And he said, "What a filthy words you said." Even the word Muhajirin and Ansar, the word itself is actually Allah praised them in Quran. They're one of the sabikun between from the Muhajirin from Ansar. Allah praised them. The same words Muhajirin and Ansar, when they use to incite fighting among themselves, right? To sub tribalisms, right? To there's no brotherhood. That become the filthy words, right? So this is again this very interesting. And one of the things as well during this fight, right? One the person who's very 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 high temper is none other than the Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul, which is the head of the hypocrites, right? And that is the and that's when the probably I don't want to go to detail. That's where the surah Al-Munafiqun idza ja munafiquna qalu nasadu innaka la rasulullah. This is where Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul says, this is a filthy word. This is what happened. You feed all these dirty people. They refer to the Muhajirun like they're just a law among us. Next time when we go back to Medina, let's just throw them away. Then when you give nauzubillah, what they call it, when you give people like dog food, they will come to you and then they all these filthy words, right? And they assign it to Rasulullah SAW, and the one kid actually listened to that, and he called Rasulullah SAW, and he told Rasulullah called Abdullah bin Ubay. Abdullah bin Ubay swore that I didn't say that, right? And then Quran was revealed. إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ قَالُوا نَشْهَدُ. This munafiqun actually testified against. So no, I didn't say that. Allah actually knows. La Kazibun, they're the one who lies. So Allah actually refute this munafiqun with the Surah Al-Munafiqun. This is very strong story. But yeah, let's not talk about the detail. Let's go back to our mother, Juwairiyyah bint al-Haritha. So how then, what happened then? And I think before the attack of the Muslims to the Bani Mustalik, Juwairiyyah actually had a dream. So I think it was later interpreted that I think it's the coming from the lake or something like that. Was the dream that she had. So she was actually given to one of the companions of Rasulullah by the name of Thabit bin Qais, right? And again, she used to live a luxury life and become a slave of someone, or probably she didn't accept that, right? And then she went to I want to buy one of the things, the difference between the Islamic slavery and the Western slavery that we know. I don't know. Do you know the books? Probably the movie long time ago by the name of Roots, Roots. When I was a kid, I liked to watch that. It was like when the first American went to the African country, and they took people from there. They put in the ship, and they shipped them to U.S. and then treat them as a slave and make them as a slave, right? So they actually this is one of the worst, one of the I think the most watched movie at the time. I was of course I don't know whether it's true or not, but I think it's based on the books called Roots as well. I remember one scene that I always remember that scene when he was what do you call that?
Whipping.
When he was whipped, one guy he was whipped. Your name is Toby. No, he said no. My name is Kunta Kinte. I remember that. Then he got whipped again. So they removed from their culture, they removed from their language, they removed from their names. It's almost like a genocide, right? Yeah. So and it was a good movie at the time. But I'm not promoting the movie, but at the time this is and what happened was because of this sort of bombardment, right? People think when the word slavery, they always associate to Western slavery, right? And at the time is the slavery during the time of Rasulullah and after, specifically after the Islam, is completely different. One of the different is that being a slave, you can go to your master and it says, I want to buy myself out. Right? Mukataba in Arabic. I want to buy myself. How much did you buy me for? Like whatever, $10 or something, right? Okay, I want to buy $10. And in Islam, it's actually mentioned Surah Nur that if your slave asks you to buy off, right, you have to say yes. You have to accept it, right? So for example, okay, $10. Okay, let me work at night. I want to do some whatever I want to do, and get the money, and then I buy myself off, right? So this is one of the things. So this what happened to our mother Juwairiyyah. So I want to buy myself off, right? But I don't get the money, and I need some help, right? And then after that, she wanted to be, and then what happened after that? She went to Rasulullah SAW. And this is where the story is very, very interesting. Our mother Aisha, she is one who saw Juwairiyyah came in, and she said, I never saw someone. She's very beautiful, and I'm afraid Rasulullah will see what's in her as well. Right? Let's talk about that later. But I think this is I just want a quick note here. I didn't have the Arabic one in the Surah Nur. When if any of your bonds people, which is a slave, in your possession desires a deed of manumission or free from being a slave, make it possible for them. Fakatibuhum, right? And if you find goodness in them, and give them some of Allah's wealth, watuhum mim mali halillazi atakum, and then all the wealth that you have, that Allah has given you. So this is by the text of Quran itself, that if your slave wants mukataba, then you have to accept that. All right, so let's continue on that. So then she came to Rasulullah SAW, and Aisha radiallahu anha, when she saw that, she saw Juwairiyyah was a lady of Jamila, beautiful, and Maliha. Maliha means salt. From the word mil means salt. So, but again, their culture, because probably salt is not something that very common. If you put food, you put some salt, you have become exotic, become something rare, right? So something that is stand up, right? So no one saw her. This is according to Aisha, and it was no one saw her except they will be captivated by her beauty. And I'm so scared that Rasulullah will capture that as well. And I would really like telling these stories. You know why, right? Because you who actually put the beauty, who actually put in our hearts, especially men's, the desire to see something beauty, right? It's Allah, right? It's part of our DNA to see something beauty, right? What Allah wants is how you actually fulfill whatever you desire. If you, for example, Allah put the desire for you to eat, it is up to you to decide whether you want to put halal or haram, right? But when you put halal, that means you follow Allah's rule. Now the same thing as well. And when Rasulullah SAW, when she came to Rasulullah SAW, and I need someone or some money to buy me off or something, Rasulullah says, how about that? How about I buy you off, but I marry you? And Rasulullah SAW proposed to her. Right? And this is what our mother Aisha was scared, and then this is what really happened. And again, if you don't, sometimes people this is what make the story become human, right? We make our Rasuls human. He's human, right? He's interested to something, as long as what he did is something that Allah wants it, right? Which is a halal way, right? So it's not about like we don't have any desire to women. No, if our Rasuls do not have any desire to women, right? So it's not there's not probably not appropriate for us to become a role model, right? Role model, if they go to these difficulties, that's why they become our role models. They go to the difficulty, they go to the challenge, they have choices of good things and bad things. They strive to do the good things. That's why they become the role model. The role model is not like a superhero. They can fly around. We cannot do that, right? But the role model, if they come into difficulties, right, they remember Allah. If they get something that is good on them, they remember Allah, right? And they have something desires within them, they fulfill it by the way Allah wants it, right? The halal way. So, and this is just amazing, and it is actually from our mother Aisha herself. That the minute I saw her, I hate her right away. So, yeah. So, what is Juwairiyyah mean? There is, I forgot the name in Arabic. You know, to make a noun a small noun, Hassan. To make a little Hassan become Hussein. You know that. So Hussein is actually the little Hassan, right? So if something called Jabal, Jubail, right? Rojul, Rujail, right? So Abid, Ubaid is Ubaidullah. Ubaidullah is that Ubaid is from the word Abid. Abid means slave. So Ubaid is a little slave, right? So Umar, Umair, right? So if, for example, your name Omar, it's okay, right? For example, someone else says Umar. Oh, he's there, right? If we call it Umair, right? Little Umar. This is like a what do you call it? Like a nickname, like a to call like a pet name or something, right? So Hassan is Hussein, so on. Now people know, huh? Yeah. I was talking about Umar bin Khattab, radiallahu anhu. All right. So what happened after that? The news spread that our Prophet Muhammad SAW married Juwairiyyah, and then because of that, everyone in Medina at the time, there's no way. This is the family of, and they all free all of the slaves as well. So this is the blessings of Juwairiyyah after she became free, and then everyone on her tribe. There was, I think, about 100 of them as well. They all freed. They all freed by all the owner or the of the time. So that is the stories about that. And then just funny, just some funny anecdote. His father actually ran away, right? And then collect some things, and okay, I want to go back. I want to get my tribes, and I want to get my daughter. So he collected all his wealth. There's a lot of camels. But before he went into Medina, and he found, these two good camels are very good looking, right? So he just hide this camel somewhere, and then bring the whole camels and went to, and then he called Muhammad. At the time he was not, of course he's not a Muslim yet. He called Muhammad, I want to please free my tribe members, and you can take all of these camels. You know what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said? What about the two camels, right? And then Harith was shocked, and he said, Ashadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. There's no way you would know this, right? So there's a lot of stories like this. There's one story, I can't remember the name on top of my head right now. Like, he was planning to kill Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after the Battle of Badr. What's his name? My name escaped. And the same story goes like that. So as he planning to kill Rasulullah Sallam, and he went in, and then only one person knew, and then he went, got the sword and everything ready, and Rasulullah Sallam, you came here to kill me because you have this talk. And then the guy was, and then he said Sahada at the time. Now this is so us that that people, the door to Islam can be in any way, right? This one is really one of the miracles as well. Knowing that Rasulullah, there's no way Rasulullah would know except he's a prophet. All right, I think this is the last part for our mother Juwairiyyah. Okay, Juwairiyyah binti Harith. She was known for her piety. She spent all of her time in prayer, and she passed away when she was about 66 and 70 years old, buried in Janatul Baqi, Medina. She was the second last wife to pass. One of the hadith, when she was, at the time she was praying after, I think it's in the morning, and Rasulullah came around forenoon, and he saw her still praying, and Rasulullah suggested, let me teach you a askar, that when you do this askar, it's almost the same time as you pray the whole morning. Subhanallah wa bihamdi adaha khalqihi. Subhanallah, glorify to Allah, wa bihamdi, praise to him as well, adaha khalqihi, by the multitude of his creation, wa ridha nafsi, to by his pleasure, wa zinata arsihi, and the weight of his arsh, and wa midada kalimati. It was very easy to read it when I prepared. And suddenly, suddenly when the text become like this, is very hard to read. Okay. Subhanallah wa bihamdi adada khalqihi wa ridha nafsihi wa zinata arsi wa midada kalimatihi. Yeah, that's it. Now I can read it now. Yeah, so glory to Allah and praise to Him. You cannot glorify Allah, and He says glorify Allah to the multitude or the number of His creation, because we don't know, right? So this is, and then we praise Allah to the extent of His pleasure, to His ridha, right? And then we praise Allah to the weight of His throne, right? We must be, if you remember the one of the angels who carry the throne, the distance between his and his are 80,000, 70,000 years. So you can imagine the throne, how heavy it is. So you praise Allah as heavy as His throne, right? And by the extent of His words, right? Wa midada kalimati, and whatever His words, His dominion, His power, to that extent. So when you praise Allah to that level, and this is almost the same as if you like praying the whole morning, the whole day. So that is our mother Juwairiyyah. So we can make it about half an hour. So next one, our mother Habibah. Her real name was originally Ramla, but not many people sure actually whether it's Ramla or Hindun. I don't know whether you remember Hindun, brother. You remember I mentioned about Hindun last time. You remember that? Hindun is actually, the word Hindun comes from the word India. So at that time, the Arabs exotize something that from India, like the sword from India. So India is always associated to something pretty, right? So if someone by the name of Hindun, they associated someone like a pretty or something. So that is the story behind that. So, Walaikum salam. She was born 589 AD, so 18 years before become Rasul. She is from the tribe of Umayyah. I want to share with you what is the type of Umayyah. I think you should know. And again, I like to, every time we tell stories about Rasulullah, we also need to know the society where he lived on, right? The society of them is not like a countries like we have in Pakistan, India, Hong Kong. The tribes, all tribes, and everything is about tribes. And the big tribe is a Quraysh, and within the Quraysh is one of the big tribes is one is a Bani Hashim, as I see here, one is a Umayyah, and Rasulullah Habibah is actually the daughter of Abu Sufyan, right? And Abu Sufyan bin Harb bin Umayyah. So, and the first Islamic dynasty, right, which is actually from this clan, Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan, Yazid bin Muawiyah, Muawiyah bin Yazid bin Muawiyah, and then continue Marwan and continue all this generation, the first generations of Islamic kings, if you will. I would call it caliphs or king. I think politically incorrect, but I'll just probably say Khalifa is from this Bani Umayyah. Before then, become Bani Hashim, which is the Abbasid. Right? At the time was it was from the clan of Umayyah. And who's other? The clan of Umayyah is none other than one of the Caliph, which is Uthman bin Affan. This is also from Umayyah. So Uthman bin Affan. All right, Habibah. Interestingly, she was originally married to by Ubaidah bin Jash. Who is Ubaidah bin Jash? From actually the brother of our mother Zainab binti Jash. and Ubaidah bin Jas together with Habibah. They were the first to embrace Islam in the early years, and they emigrated to Ethiopia, to Abyssinia. But unfortunately, this is the story where Ubaidillah actually, uh, before actually he converted to Islam, he actually one of the very few people, 3 or 4 people, one of them including Waraka bin Nufail, the 2 or 3 people there consider themselves Hunafa, Hanif. They don't want to bow down to the idols, something. They want to call themselves to, and the time the one that the closest to them, the knowledge that the closest to them is Christianity. So I think there was a narration that Ubaidillah was originally Christianity, and then when Rasulullah SAW declared prophethood and invite them to Islam, he became Muslims. And then when they migrated to Abyssinia, and then they're all, because they're all the Christian kingdom, so he became Christians again. So he converted back to Christianity. Uh, and then this is a typo. And then Rasulullah SAW, when the Idah of by the way, Abdullah become died as a murtad, right? I just want to quickly start. I don't know whether one of the things that I like to sometimes like watching in YouTube is the story of conversions, like people converting to Islam, and sometimes I saw watch people converting to from Islam, right? And well, probably not all, but at least the one that I try to get the stories, and sometimes probably not appropriate to tell this, but anyway, some of the thing is they for this case, I just go back to this case, right? For this case, there was a narration that he used to be a drunkard before. He likes to drink. So when he embraced Islam, right, and then probably he didn't want to lose that part of life. And then if you go back again to Christianity, it was not banned for him to. So that's why he converted again to Christianity, because of the allow. But this is one narration to that. Um, so people probably do not like the rule and choose the life which is the easier life. Then what happened after that? After the Idah of Habibah, Rasulullah SAW sent someone to talk to Najasi. Najasi is the king at the time, the Christian king, for to ask the mother of to ask the Habibah the hand for marriage. And at the time, the way they do marriage is like someone represent Habibah, and at the time who present Rasulullah was actually the king himself, right? So they pronounce something and they do this and they become married. So Rasulullah SAW was actually not at that his own marriage, right? It was represented by Najasi. And after that, Najasi, because he's a king, he threw a big party and he gave almost like a 400 dinars of mahar, and throw a big party. And I think they deserve it after they've been away from home and so on and so forth. They a big party. It was, and at the time there was after I think a 7 hijrah when they came back to Medina. So they were there for about 8 years, 8 years or more than that, right? For more than that number of years. All right, so they went back to Medina at 7 hijrah, right? So this one, I'm not going to tell the stories. I think probably a bit long. This is a story where, after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, where Rasulullah SAW and the Muslims and the people from Mecca, they agree that, okay, you cannot go Hajj now, you go Hajj next year. And they agree in that treaty that we cannot go fighting, we cannot kill any one of you, all right, you cannot kill any one of us. We're in a treaty, basically, it's a truce. So what happened? There was an incident where someone from Medina got killed for someone from Mecca, right? And at that time Abu Sufyan was so scared, that wow, the Muslims will probably come to us and attack us, right? At that time the Muslims getting bigger and bigger, and the people of Mecca, they're so scared about that. So Abu Sufyan, being the chief of Makkah at the time, he walked to Medina. He went to Medina, and he says, "Oh, I need to talk to Rasulullah SAW." Of course, he called, "I need to talk to Muhammad," and so on. I need to convince him not to attack. Right? So the first thing he do what? The first thing he did was to meet his own daughter, which is Habibah, right? So he came to Medina, and then he visit his own daughter Habibah, and Habibah was, wow, you're here, right? And then he was ready to sit, and I said, wait, and then roll this, probably like a small carpet or like a place to sit, and then Habibah call it and roll it. Why did you do that? And is the mat is too good for me, or I'm too good for the mat? No, this is where Rasulullah Sallam sit, so you don't deserve it. And then she uttered the word like you're like a najis or something like that. You're dirty and so on. And then Abu Sufyan knew he knew his place right away. There's no way I'm gonna talk to our own daughter to talk to our to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So basically, she rejected him. So yes, I think not many stories again. Habibah, probably just the last part where Rasulullah SAW narrated the hadith. She actually narrated the hadith about whoever prays 12 rak'ah. Is it nawafil? We call in Indonesia we call it rawatib, right? It's 12 rak'ah, which is two before Fajr, 4 and 4 for Zuhur, none for Asar, and 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after Isha. They're all 12. And then whoever regularly plays these 12 rak'ahs should have a palace in Jannah. And then our mother Habibah said, every time, the first time I heard that, I never stopped doing this. And then she narrated the hadith to people, to other people, and the people. Every time I heard this, I always, from the day I heard this, I never stopped doing this rawatib, which is a 12 prayer. And again, yeah, this is the stories of Habibah, and as I mentioned to you, not many stories that we finished 45 minutes, not bad. I was thinking it's gonna be half an hour. All right, I think that's all. Not many stories about this Habibah. Any simple question? Any simple query? If not, we can close.
Just a bit of a reflection.
Yeah.
Like, subhanAllah, the two ahadiths narrated by the mother covered today.
Yeah.
I never knew they were one of the narrators.
Oh yes, yeah, they are.
And then subhanAllah, imagine that's the only thing in terms of hadith collection narrated by them.
Yes.
And yet, after them,
yeah,
believers, followers who do all those.
Yeah. And you also said it to her. Yeah.
All those good things.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that 12 rakahs, sometimes especially the Zuhur one is a bit difficult sometimes for us.
It's
right?
slightly longer.
Yeah, slightly longer. Fajr is sometimes, if you is a morning person, it's easy to do, but the Zuhur one, especially with the busy work and so on, is find it very hard, right? To make it consistent. You make it consistent, then you have a place in Jannah. So, what's the first hadith? Oh, the Subhanallah wa bihamdika, Subhanallah wa bihamdika, yeah. Ada khalqihi. Gee, I can't remember now. Ada khalqihi. Wa ridha nafsihi. Wa ridha wa zinat nafsihi. Nafsihi. Wa midada kalimatihi. Yeah. Yeah, that's I think beyond. Yes, yeah. We just talk about we praise Allah as heavy as as His throne. We praise Allah as big as His words. We praise Allah as the numbers of His creations, right?
The last line is very amazing.
Yeah,
might finish, but
yes,
phrases might not.
Yeah, Subhanallah. So this is our inability to praise Allah. We just use His creations and to praise Him. Subhanallah. I think we can conclude our, unless you have any other questions, the simple questions. No? All right.
Since you covered the right hand possesses.
Oh, then I'll do it off camera then. Let's do it off camera. All right. Okay. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Jazakumullah khairan.